What was the first recession like, and how is it different than what we may experience this time? I am, spoiler, a millennial, and I graduated my undergraduate in 2004, which meant that I had gotten like my first big girl job in like 2006, 2007. And I was finally living in New York City. I was making like a decent wage. I was working as an event planner for this restaurant company, Be Our Guest Restaurants. It was all going great, things were going fine. And as an event planner, I had gotten a bunch of really great clients. I did parties for Bear Stearns, for Bank of Ireland, for Lehman Brothers, these huge financial institutions. We were also at the time doing pharmaceutical dinners were very popular. It's like $125 per person, and they needed a private room. And I was making like a bunch of money off of that I now regret, realizing that that was the beginning of the opioid epidemic when these pharmaceutical companies were taking doctors out to expensive dinners to get them to write prescriptions for like Oxycontin and shit. Anyway, we didn't know that at the time either. And so here I am, like 24 years old and working when we hear that the stock market is going to collapse. And I went from having clients that were spending tons of money in the restaurant, doing all of this entertaining, lots of finance bros, all that kind of stuff, to having those same people tell me that they had been laid off, that Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers had closed, and asking me, hey, V, any chance you need extra cater waiters? I don't have any work. So people who went from being the expense account holder to just trying to get work as a cater waiter or anything. That also led to a lot of people who did have a little bit of money deciding that they weren't going to play in the stock market finance world anymore and they were going to pursue their passions. This is when you saw a lot of former finance guys get into the restaurant industry and start to become chefs and start to do the thing that you guys all make fun of, which is these bare bones luxury barbecue restaurants, luxury burger restaurants. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that we really couldn't afford anything. And so we were trying to make stuff like a hamburger or barbecue feel upscale. The recession of like 2007, 2008 was terrible, but it was not as bad as what we are expecting right now because we have even less resources and less flexibility in our budgets now than we did then. Back then, I made $47,000 a year and I lived in New York City, and I could like kind of live on that in 2007. And now people have been coming into the workforce making $52,000 a year, but the cost of living has gone up astronomically. So I don't know what we can expect exactly from this time, but I do know that back then America was a much more united place. We were sort of fresh off of 9/11 still. People were still feeling a deep sense of patriotism and like helping thy neighbor. And we don't have that now. What do you remember about the recession from 2007? Put any of your tips in the comments, stories in the comments for folks. I think maybe that's the best way to spend the day.